as adults, if we think about those situations, like where we picked up this pattern of, for me, like feeling inadequate or whatever, and trying to mask that by being really angry, then we have an opportunity to just kind of like sit with that kid and be like, hey, I get why you felt that way, but maybe it's not serving me so well now. What's a different version of this I can integrate into my life so I have an adult pattern that I'm happy with versus a kid pattern that maybe is not so good anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a helpful way to frame it. And I also think that a lot of people dislike thinking about these things that have happened to them as kids or in their earlier life because they think it's an excuse to just behave, but that people use it as an excuse to just have a sob story or behave however they want to behave because of their past traumas and things like that. And I think you framed it exactly right, that we study it and we understand it to use it in an empowering way, not to use it in a way that, you know, makes other people feel like they are invalidated or not to use it as an excuse or a reason to behave however you feel like behaving.
Yeah. In fact, we're trying to use it so we can deal with it, so we can stand in a even stronger position, like as an individual.
Yeah. And also so that socially, it helps you understand others better. And it helps you explain yourself better to others so that others can understand you better.
It helps you identify kinda sometimes the patterns of the person in front of you. Like, oh, why does he react like that to this type of situation? And then the more versed you are, this is like some of the original emotional intelligence stuff also, right? For leaders, it's how versed you are in this stuff is correlated to how well you can lead people, because leadership is a collaborative process, right? You need to understand people.
And if as a boss, you just go in and say to people, I don't care what you're feeling, just do it. It's not going to be as helpful as you being able to say, I wonder what's happening here. And then asking and leading them and questioning it together to be like, okay, maybe it's about that. Okay, then what can we do that doesn't set that off?
Yeah, right? It feels like the age of that type of leadership is almost gone. Like it's still holding true in certain industries that are very male dominant. But even within those environments, when I talk to my guy friends who work in those environments, when they talk about the new, like fresh grads that are coming in, they can't be like that anymore because people will just leave. And I think it's a good thing. No?
Well, I just think that it's difficult for both parties. And I understand the generation that thinks, so you expect me to stay within these really fine lines of how I need to speak to you and how I need to behave towards you. And the moment I step out at all, that you're like, that's it. This is a terrible workplace. I'm quitting or whatever. Or you complain to HR, right? And I think that's also a very difficult position to be in because I do think that humans are human. It's okay to say things
and be emotional.
Yeah, to say things in an emotional way, to get angry sometimes, to step out of line sometimes. And I don't think people should be asked to walk such a fine line.
Yeah, I don't think you should be, what is the word, persecuted? Is that prosecuted? Persecuted.
Yeah, when you
mess up, right? Yeah. Obviously, like if you touch someone's bum, like
just to be clear,
you should be in trouble. But if you raised your voice because someone messed something up, okay, you should, come around and be like, look, I shouldn't have done that. I'm just not sure you see the repercussions of this mistake. And so there was a very tense situation. Yes, you should do that, but you shouldn't be on the chopping block because you raised your voice a bit, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, essentially, I understand both sides. Yeah. I think it is good that the younger generation understands or thinks about things that are not the healthiest and that they adamantly oppose it sometimes. It keeps people thinking about it and being conscious about it, so that's good. But I also don't think it should be overused. I think it's something that we should use as guidelines and we use to aim for these standards, but it's okay if we don't perfectly meet them every time.
You think it's fair for me to say that maybe if you grow up in this internet mental health, protect myself boundaries culture, in some ways you might be less resilient and too sensitive, and there's value in toughening up a little bit. It doesn't mean ignoring how you feel. It just means, like what we covered earlier, you don't necessarily need to let that person's tone and what they said ruin your day or give you a mental health crisis. It can just be like, oh, well, he was a bit of a dick today.
Yeah.
And then just kind of like move on with your day. Like
Yeah. I think there's a balance to be struck. Yeah. It'd be nice if we could learn from the generation that's come before and also learn from the upcoming generation and find a balance in between. Yeah.